everywhere. Every sport's going crazy. I don't know what to expect. Like, it's FISE.
The crowd is absolutely ecstatic to watch you ride, and the whole atmosphere is absolutely unreal. So much fun.
It's so very special because you don't see that anywhere else except for at FISE.
Welcome everybody, we are here in beautiful Edmonton, Canada. That's right, it's the third stop of 4 here on the FISE World Series. We've made it all the way across the Atlantic and we are sitting here in beautiful Alberta. And that is right, Edmonton, Alberta. I am Ryan Meyer, I am the host here for the FISE World Series and I'm joined by none other than Daryl Nall. Daryl Nall, thank you for joining us.
Ryan, I got to tell you, it's an honor being here, not only with you, not only with all the fans here in Edmonton, but for all of our riders around the world who are checking out the action here on our third stop of the FISE World Series. The excitement is here.
And definitely, like we said, it's 3 stops deep. We've already made our way to Montpellier, France. That's where things started off 20 years ago. That's right, it's the 20th anniversary of FISE this year. But for our first time ever, we went to Budapest, Hungary. Had our second stop there, and now for the third of 4, we are here in Edmonton, Canada. We're going to be finishing off the tour like we always do in Chengdu, China, but that's going to be the first weekend of November this year, so make sure you mark those dates on your calendar. If you've not yet come to any of the FISE, make sure you jot those down for 2018. We're going to have as well an amazing roster, but we'd as well like to see you out here for the third day of competition tomorrow in Edmonton.
Yeah, I want to take a moment and just give a lot of props to the city of Edmonton. They've been so welcoming to us, bringing in all of the riders, bringing in all the fans, and it's really the most perfect landscape you could imagine. You can see this beautiful downtown just nestled in the middle of wilderness, where you have the opportunity to not only bring together the best of nature, but also the best of an urban environment. And the fact that Edmonton is one of the younger cities out there. It's really embraced by having hundreds of festivals here a year, and it's exciting that we're here for FISE.
Yeah, like you said, we're in this amazing Harlech Park. It's one of the largest urban parklands in North America, let alone Canada. So it's just phenomenal that the city of Edmonton let us come out here and express action sports on such a high scale. So we're just stoked to come out here, especially for the second year around. But make sure you guys from all around the world, we know this isn't just an event here in Canada. Make sure if you're watching us from any of the locations in the world, you tune into social media, you make sure you stay involved with all the action. You can follow us on Facebook, FISE.official. As well, you can get us on Instagram and on Snapchat at FISE World Series. Make sure you stay in with all the action. Hashtag FISE Edmonton, and it will be, we can follow all your tweets and everything as we go along.
Yeah, it's very cool, the fact that we're so interactive right now. Very, very special that we want to see where you're at. So make sure you throw that hashtag. Ryan and I will be checking it out as the feed goes on and as the program continues.
So like we said, it's 20 years long of FISE. It started in Montpellier, it started in the south of France, and we are getting ready to start, of course, the Flatland semifinals for BMX, and none other than to have an amazing guest here, Lionel Cardozo. Thank you so much for joining us, man. How are you having it over here in Canada?
It's just awesome being here for the second time. You know, last year was already a blast. This year, once again, everything is set up perfectly. And I'm just looking forward that Flatland contest, once again, it's going to be one hell of a show for sure.
And I mean, you've been involved with the FISE since almost its infancy, haven't you? How did it start off for you?
I started as a Flatland rider. I actually won the first FISE riding Flatland. And that was also my big time experience as a presenter for the whole contest, for the BMX contest. And, you know, from back then, it just rolled on and snowballed into what it is today, you know.
And so it's beautiful to be able to have someone like yourself come and sit beside us in the booth and kind of show how this whole entire event comes apart. I mean, we're only 2 years young out here in Canada, and we'd love to bring that whole entire environment that, you know, it's kind of worked into the DNA of Montpellier. It'd be very cool to bring that around the world. Regardless, though, we're about getting ready to start the semifinals of the BMX Flatland. If you guys have not tuned in with us previously, you're not too sure what's going on for Flatland, format works out for BMX Flat.
Yeah, so yesterday we actually had our qualifying, but right now it's about 12 riders being in the final. They're going to have one run. 3 minutes are going to be on the clock. and at the end, they're going to wind up seeing the score. Now, Lionel, if we look at the numbers again, it's 12 riders, 1 run each, 3 minutes on the clock, and then our 3 judges are going to be determining what the top riders are. Now, I want to ask you, though, as a rider yourself, how does that factor in as far as being 1 run out there and having that format?
It's actually a bit easier for the riders because they're gonna throw it all down into that 1 run, and it doesn't break their concentration. They remain focused for 3 minutes. They know they have to go all the way, and also a chance for them to, if they miss a trick, to try it again. Especially in flatland, it takes a lot of focus, and it's also easy to get out of that focus. And that's a chance for them, having that much time to get back into it and maybe bring what they were meant to be when they had planned. That's the biggest challenge for them.
So you're saying that 3 minutes could work in a rider's advantage. Maybe they start off, they wind up putting their foot down, kind of get back on. Now, I want to ask you, we had a chance to see our judges up there. What are the main factors that the judges are going to be looking for?
Well, the biggest one in flatland is creativity. Those guys right there are the best, and what makes a difference is creativity, and difficulty is also one of the biggest, point for the judges. And after all this is considered, obviously consistency, how they're gonna pull all their tricks together, the style of the riders. It's a bit of the same as on the park, but creativity is much more important in the way that most of those guys, they do their own tricks. Nobody else does what they do, and that makes the whole difference, between all of them.
Well, we just had an opportunity to see our 3 judges up there, and you're talking a little bit about the creativity, but when we wind up rewinding the clock to our stop previous, when we were in Budapest, we actually have the winning run, where we could break down and kind of see some of those elements that the judges were looking for.
Yeah, so Ryder has been dominating out there on the flatland scene. You can see here none other than Canadian Jean-William Prévost. So walk us through a bit of the highlights that you can see from the last runs in Budapest.
Oh, this is right there, like the best you can get on the flatland bike. This guy's got it all. He's got style. He's got his own tricks. Nobody else does what he do. Right there is just crazy, and it's super difficult. That's what makes the difference between the other riders. It has most of the most advanced tricks you can do on the bike right there. It's just crazy. Right now he's at the summit of his heart, doing hard tricks, original tricks, and pulling it all together with style, and that's what the judges want to see.
So is it true, basically, if he'd be going on a run like this and he puts his foot down right at the end, does that almost mean like his combination doesn't work out?
It's kind of tricky in the way that if the combo is like a minute long, you can't nullify just by your foot at the end. The judges are still going to take into account what has been done. Still, it's going to lessen, the impact, since it's not pulled. But if a big trick has been pulled in that combo, it's still taken into account, by the judges.
And that's why we have the top judges out there, and it takes a very long time to get some of those judges' scores in, but we do get them nonetheless. Some other riders apart from Jean-William Prévost, who are some of your favorites out there today?
Right there, we got some big names. The problem being for them to put their runs together, and that's going to be tricky, but some of the best guys are on this list, like Peter Olsen. He's got some of the hardest tricks you can do, on the back wheel, but he might have a hard time putting it all together, and that's the problem. Also, the regular favorite is Matthias. He has such a consistency, even though some of his runs might be a little bit old by now because he's not as progressive as the other guys. He has, everything it takes to put it all together, and that makes a difference.
Yeah, it's beautiful to as well see a rider like Matthias Dandois come out, and he has a very interesting mix of that kind of flatland mixed with the street style influence of BMX. That kind of Paris crew with Jumelin as well. It's just an amazing group of riders to see them kind of come out and devote their own creativity into their runs. We're going to get ready to sit down and start the contest right now. The riders are just going to be doing a little introduction on course, and we'll kind of get this going right now for you.
that he can do. You like Benjamin? All right, and now back out of France.
So you can see all of our riders lining up right now, preparing.
He threw down an incredible run yesterday, made it to the finals.
Like Park.
Let me know when you have it.
He's got some crazy hard spinning.
So for all of our viewers at home right now, we are getting ready for our BMX Flatland semifinal. 12 of the world's best riders right now are getting locked and loaded, ready to be introduced in our Heritage Amphitheater. This is our second year of having our FISE World Series here in Edmonton, Canada, and I gotta tell you, the energy last year is just electric inside the amphitheater. The crowd, the fans, the diehard BMXers are out in attendance and really show that support. This amphitheater is a perfect stage and perfect platform for our riders to really express themselves.
Next, coming from Montreal, Canada, number 1 at FISE Montpellier, number 1 at FISE Budapest is Jean-William Prévost. We call him Dove for his middle initial. What do you think about Dove? And last but not least, doing it for Red Bull, coming out of Paris.
So right now, before the contest, we see our riders, again, they're just doing a little grandstanding to the crowd to make their presence known, kind of do an introduction. There is Matthias Dandois. Now, Lionel, I want to ask you, as a competitor yourself, especially in BMX Flat, what's it like right before a competition like this, where you know in a few moments you're going to have to go out and strive for perfection with creativity, as you were talking about before?
Definitely want to get into that focus I was talking about. It's really hard with the crowd and, you know, with the TV pressure, especially nowadays. But those guys right now, they, you know, for most of them, they're not hearing anything anymore. They're just in that zone and they're trying to stay in there just to make sure those tricks get pulled and they don't, you know, they're not getting distracted by something that they might see, just a logo on the floor. It can be anything, you know, like a fly goes by and that's gonna break their focus, and they don't want that. And in this moment, a lot of the top guys, they're not gonna be talking to you. They're just gonna be in that zone and they want to remain in there because that's all matters to them. They know exactly what they gotta do, but they gotta stay there to, you know, get into that mode and get through those tricks without a problem. And I think we are already started with the first rider, Brandon Derboca.
So we got Brandon starting right now. This is the initial moments of his run. I want to ask you, how much of his run do you think is planned, right? So the clock just started, 3 minutes. And do you think every second is accounted for him out here?
Not at all, actually. He knows like the tricks he wants to do. And then it really depends if he pulls them, you know. If he misses some, then he's gonna back to some maybe, or maybe try to think about something else. And the talent in those guys, that's totally crazy right there. A little time machine, pedaling his bike on the back wheel.
You know, it's very difficult for us to understand some of the tricks. It's like watching a dance routine. It's phenomenal to me. But you've been in this so long. How do you learn all the tricks, for instance?
You really learn them one by one and then put them together in combos. You know, like this is one trick he's gonna do, like right there. This has a name, cross-footed half-backer, where, you know, he actually has his legs cross-footed. And I might run into something else just right there. He's doing, you know, the regular half-backer. So the way you learn those tricks is really one by one, and then the hard thing is putting them together into a combo just like there. You know, there's already 3 tricks right there.
Whoa, look at that.
Down.
The bike is upside down. He's on the pedals, and he was actually pedaling right there. And is that because to keep his cranks engaged, or was that because he has a free coaster? What was going on there? Or is
right
that style?
No, it's going forward. You know, the free coaster doesn't engage when rolling backward.
Okay.
So it don't really matter. It's just one of the tricks
Just
you can
add
do.
in some extra style. Just
Exactly.
pour it on a little bit right there. So he's coming up the 2 minutes down, 60 seconds to go. We're definitely seeing Brandon step down a lot, but we're seeing also that creativity. Like you mentioned, he went in that time machine. That's where his bike was vertical.
Yep.
But right now, so he's on that front wheel, and you saw he started out with his feet crossed. Look at that.
Yeah, that's just an awesome combo right there. Going all around the bike, you know, his body is moving while his feet are crossed.
So he had to twist, basically, those pegs that are on the bike, they're an extension of the axle on the wheel.
Yep.
He had to wind up twisting his feet, which rubber on metal, it's definitely a not an easy thing to twist and turn like that, but like you said, he kept his feet engaged on the pegs and his body rotated around.
Yep, all while rolling, you know, which is the hard part, definitely.
Yeah.
And he actually pulled it clean. That's another feature in itself. He's having a bit of a hard time in this run, you know, just trying to pull those tricks, and as you said, you know.
So as the clock winds down here, what's the official ruling as far as the time goes? Wow, no hands right there.
Oh, look at that. Incredible double whiplash, no-ended. It's one of his original signature move right there. You know, you only see that in the videos usually. It's really hard to go for it in the runs.
As well, one thing that I notice very much in flatland, more so than in BMX street or park, is the diversity in the bikes from each athlete. Starting out in flatland, I mean, the bikes are so different than they would be right now. You notice someone like Matthias Dandois, who has a very street-oriented setup, to someone like Brandon right here, who you can see has a very small frame, super high seat tube, very narrow but tall crossbar on the handlebars there. What is the difference like that in bike setup?
It's all custom. You know, those guys, they all have preferences, and for most of these guys have been riding for a long time, and they exactly know what they like in a bike, and they don't want it any other way, you know, and that's what makes it different. And especially, you know, when you got different, like the body size, you know, makes it different in your needs as far as bike goes. And we're moving to.
Well, if you're going to talk about body size, definitely that's the thing that's a big feature of our next rider, a second of 12, Peter Olsen, who just started out. Now, Peter is a very tall rider. He's clocking in well over the 6-foot mark.
Oh, yeah.
What's the challenge like that? You know, these bicycles are 20-inch wheels. Obviously, he's a very tall rider compared to some of the other guys out there. How much of a factor is that as far as flat and being able to compete and do this?
It's actually quite an advantage to be, you know, quite big. You're gonna ride your bike differently, gonna do different tricks, you know, and that's what makes the difference. It don't really matter what size you are. Like compared to Peter, if you look at Alex Jumelin, it's pretty small. And he's going to do different tricks. You know,
so you're saying maybe using his limbs that are a little bit longer to maybe have certain reach.
Exactly.
And to get in certain positions as far as the body goes.
Reach and also balance. You know, he's going to have a different balance point, and he's going to do different tricks, like more of a rolling tricks. Whereas, you know, like someone like Alex, who is definitely smaller, is going to be more into energy and, you know, like smaller, like action tricks, I'd say.
Okay.
And you see Peter right there is doing the rolling stuff, and all the stuff he's doing right there is all of his original tricks. And if he succeeds in pulling all these, then he could definitely be in the top 3. But unfortunately, that's the problem with Peter. He has a hard time getting into, you know, pulling all those lengths. So
it's getting into that zone you were talking about. He has a little difficulty. Now, is Peter, is he on the circuit? Does he compete in a lot of contests? Or
not
is this,
really. Not really. You know, I think he was here last year already, but you never see him in the contest circuit. You mostly see him in the videos. You know, he's one of the best video riders you can get. He has like so many hard tricks, so many original tricks. He's definitely really respected on the, you know, on the flatland scene, and unfortunately it's hard for him. He doesn't have the experience of a Matthias, let's say,
or maybe even our top finishers from Budapest.
Exactly.
The top 3: Alex Jumelin, Moto Sasaki, and our winner was, which we saw his run, Jean-William Prévost.
Yeah.
So what you're talking about is almost getting in that zone. Even though you have that 3 minutes, it could almost maybe work against you too if you're getting frustrated or a little flustered. Instead of you're like, oh my gosh, I'm on the stage for 3 minutes, and instead of working into the zone, maybe you're getting pulled out. But let's see if Peter can really put it down for the final moments right here.
Oh yeah, one of them.
Very cool.
Moves.
You see the way that his body winds up wrapping around. Again, the feet were on the pedals, and he had to contort his body, maybe utilizing the longer limbs that you were talking about.
Yep. It's so much easier for him to, you know, do those kind of moves, even though those moves are just crazy. He's just getting his body rotating cross-footed into regular on the back wheel, and now it's the time, yeah.
So now the time is winding out, and I was asking you this prior. When the clock winds up hitting 0, can a rider continue going in his link if he started it, or is it that's the curtain?
The judges usually have a 5-second, threshold where they're gonna let it go for 5 seconds more,
Okay.
and then they're not gonna take it into account anymore.
But it's not, hey, you started a link, you could do another 60-second link. It's like, look, you got that tall window. Be graceful. We're going to give you a little bit of a breathing room, but you got your 5 seconds. Let's do it. And we'll put the hook, or they'll play the Oscar music and basically play them off right there.
Exactly. Especially that, as you said earlier, 3 minutes can be, can get long. And if you had a bad day, then, it's going to be hard to save it no matter what,
So it looks like at our start list right now, we might be bypassing Jake Levia. If you know that name, he's definitely a park rider who's on our FISE World Series. He competed all last year. But right now we're looking at the man that is all heart. That's right. We're talking about Bo Wade. You can't find a more committed rider in BMX, especially in flat, than Bo Wade. Travels the world doing shows. Also, though, is such a great ambassador for the sport. Lives in Southern California. When he's not doing that, he's traveling all the time, just really being a great ambassador.
Oh, yeah.
So Bo right now, how would you say that Bo's style might vary a little bit from the first 2 other riders that we've seen?
Well, Bo is not as original, but he's definitely most consistent. So he might, that's why he finished a bit better in the qualifiers, because he got his tricks together and he pulled most of his combos, and that's what made the difference, compared to other guys.
So look at that. He put his 1 foot onto the actual. Look at that, pulling the combo. So he put his 1 foot on the bottom bracket, which holds the cranks, and then he moved to the pedal, right? So he stepped it in phases.
Yep.
So it's almost to get the feet in the proper position right there.
Yeah, exactly.
So essentially what you're saying is that it's a little bit of a sliding scale where you got to, basically a rider out here is trying to play the odds of consistency, the tricks that they know how to do, but they're not going to be scored as good if they're not as original.
Yeah,
but if you're going super original and it's a newer trick, you don't have it as consistent and you could mess up. So you're out here kind of playing all different odds, right?
Oh, definitely. It's a hit and miss, and that's why the podiums are different from a contest to another. It's all down to who puts it together, and, most of the time Matthias ends up in the first couple spots because he's so consistent, even though some of his tricks are like 3 or 4 years old, compared to the other guys who are mostly, into the new tricks, and they want to go that route only, So, look at Bo, wow, going wild right now.
So Bo is on that back wheel. You see him utilizing his 1 foot for balance, and now he steps over. And look at that positioning right there. I love when you could see a silhouette of a rider and they're able to hold that pose right there. And if you were just to take a silhouette outline, you could just see that beautiful, almost, Brian, like we were saying in Budapest, that trophy. It almost looks like a trophy, picture perfect, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I really like Bo's setup as well, but what's the difficulties with having such a low seat like that in flatland?
You actually, just make space for you to move around your bike, and he does some tricks where you don't have necessarily to grab your seat, like some other guys, so it don't really matter to him to have him that low. It just makes more space for him, actually. It's going for a decade on his last trick of his link.
So he is coming down, 35 seconds to go. Bo Wade looking to pull something big out here.
Yeah, definitely not as original, but as I said, more consistent than the previous 2, and that's what makes the difference. And it's definitely gonna get a better result. Well, at least if I was a judge. But that's a tough one for the judges, let me tell you. Those guys, as you said, it's hard. It's a hard balance between consistency and hard tricks and originality.
So Bo Wade looking to utilize right here as the clock is at 3, 2, 1. Stepping down. But listen to the crowd here in Edmonton, just showing its appreciation and love.
That's what has been awesome with Flatland lately. Is the crowd has been into it as much as park. They really pumping the riders to give it their best, and that's just awesome to see. Especially here, last year was awesome. This year, the crowd is also really good.
So we're looking at this backwards manual right there. You see that balance point. Now, something in flatland we want to talk about. All of our riders know that you have that free coaster on the back wheel. For years, riders had that. What a free coaster basically is, it's a special back wheel, so if you're traveling backwards, your cranks don't engage, and you can keep your feet in a locked position pretty much.
Yeah.
Recently, well, actually, I should say in the late 90s, we had Rick Malturno and a couple of the standard guys really dabbling with that on ramps a little bit. But now, because of the technology, you're starting to see a lot of improvements, and you're seeing the free coasters move on to park and street. But right there, Bo Wade taking a little bit of a street influence almost and doing a backwards pedalless wheelie known as the manual, but in a circle.
Yeah, and the free coaster also helps keeping those pedals in place, you know. So when they start length, they know that, you know, when they're gonna move through those tricks, the pedals are not gonna move and gonna remain in the same place. So that's really important in flatland. Now we move on to this rider, Tyler Gillard, awesome rider from Florida. He's got some big moves. Look at this, huge jump from the back wheel to the front wheel.
Wow.
He's got so much
such a difficult transition.
Oh yeah. It's the same with Tyler. It's a bit of a hard decision for the judges because he's gonna do a lot of the tricks from other riders, but he's so consistent, you know, with those lengths. It's hard to decide, you know. Having a bit of a hard time. That you can tell the actual flatland is a bit slippery right now.
Yeah, let's talk about the surface for a moment. So we're on this stage right here in our amphitheater. Look at that up on the front wheel. What is that surface actually that they're riding on?
It's concrete with a layer of wood, 2 layers of wood actually, and a special rubber paint, so it's as grippy as possible. But as the riders, you know, use the surface, then there's gonna be some residue from the tires that's gonna stay on there, and that kind of make it slippery after a while. But you know, that's the best we can get as far as flatland goes. Flatland contest surface, that's really a really good one. So smooth and really hard, which is really important also for the guys. And Tyler is going off right now, crazy length.
Really long combo going on right here from Tyler.
Saving it in all ways.
Little big save there and going into a massive spin here. This is looks like a signature move from him.
Yeah, it's not like a trick he made. It's from someone else, but still it's one of his moves like that he consistently pulls off. So
I think it's safe to say he made it look good, because that's what he did right there. He had that silhouette I was talking about, where just really rocking that pose, and you saw him able to utilize his foot to hold the frame up in that balance point. So right now, the Floridian Tyler on that back wheel, you can see,
yeah, you can tell he's getting tired. You know, as you said earlier, 3 minutes can be a long time for the guys, especially when they've already pulled a lot of their tricks, you know.
In previous events as well at the Flatland at the FISE, we've done 2-minute runs as well. So, yeah, like you were saying, it can be an advantage, it can be a disadvantage to go 3 minutes. I'm sure when it goes into some of the other riders, like Alex Jumelin and Jean-William Prévost, as well Matthias Danois, if they're able to hold all their combinations, this is going to be a huge advantage for them to have that extra 1 minute on the end there.
Oh yeah, and that's what makes a difference. You know, it's also a matter of experience. Tyler might not be as experienced as the other guys, you know, contest-wise. And a lot of the guys nowadays, you know, they really train not only on their bikes but off bikes to get that cardio going, and they're really into that, you know, that skill set that we didn't care about earlier. You know, when we were riding flatland, oh man, we didn't stretch or anything. Nowadays, those guys, you know, they work out, you know, they really get like a complete skill set, not only on bikes but also off bikes. You know, that's what makes him so good, you know.
Yeah, and it's exciting as we're moving towards the Olympics of BMX Freestyle. I think just as a whole, I mean, maybe not even reserved to BMX, you know, just the game has been elevated with everything. But if we're going to talk about someone who's elevated the game in their professionalism, in their riding career, and the way that they present themselves as a rider and an athlete, you cannot leave this next rider out. Terry Adams is the man. He's definitely up the ante for every element of BMX Flatland. Hailing from the United States, Louisiana, he's definitely pushed his own style on his bike, but also working with photographers to make some of the most picturesque, beautiful photos, and also some of the most unique setups out there.
Oh yeah, definitely. You made history many times, you know, going for incredible tricks that never been done to this day. You know, he's the only one that can do those tricks. I was hoping for one right there, but he went a different route. And that's really the force of Terry. Look at this.
Yes.
This is one of his own move right there. He's been doing this for a long time, but it's still as crazy as ever. And not too many riders are able to do what he's still doing today. You know, it's just incredible.
We have yet to see Terry at the FISE contest this year. Have you competed with him in the past?
I have not. He came right after me. So yeah, he came out like in the early 2000s or so. And from the get-go, he had really crazy switches and really he had a different perspective on flatland. And he really brought something new to the table with such moves like that. The full bar spin into a half-packer right there, just crazy move. And he's not done. He's got some more for that link.
Right now, Terry on that front wheel doing it for Deco BMX. I know that Chad DeGroot is cheering him on from Florida right now.
Oh yeah, he's been away from the scene for a little bit. You know, that's a shame because he's been such a progressive rider, bringing new tricks each and every year. You know.
But if you do want to stay up to date with Terry Adams, you can follow him on his Instagram. It's Terry Adams BMX, where you can see all of his inspirational riding. Trying to whip that back end around. But Terry also is an entrepreneur as well. He's got a lot going on. And again, the way that he presents everything in terms of his lifestyle, his photos, he really goes the extra mile and he works hand in hand with all of his sponsors. I think the way of saying that he's a professional athlete is a true testament to Terry.
Oh yeah, it's the epitome of professional. You know, that's what it is. You know, it's everything he does is always like so nice and clean and pushes the sport that little much further. You know, that's just incredible. Look at this, a backward whooper.
Yes, Terry, you see, getting that clean right there. Terry is psyched. I had the opportunity to do some shows with Terry for Red Bull, actually, up in New Jersey and New York City. It was really cool getting to work with him. And again, just seeing his professionalism, how dedicated he is to the craft, and just his consistency that he really brings out. So as the clock is ticking down, let's see what Terry's got.
He's got the signature move called the Katrina that he dedicated to the Hurricane. You know, like he made that trick right after. Oh, that is incredible. Almost pulled it. That's just insane move right there, you know. Yep. Oh, look at that little backflip just over the crowd.
Terry grandstanding out there. You see him getting some high fives from our other riders.
You can't even tell from here. He makes it look so easy, but he's one of the most stressful rider there is as far as contests. So nervous, but still succeed in pulling those tricks. Look at this.
Terry Adams right now. I know he's also getting cheered on by Scott O'Brien and all the boys down in Louisiana. He just put on his own event last weekend, the Voodoo Jam, where Terry's been bringing together the scene of Flatland for over a decade. And right now, again, you can see how excited the other riders are, especially the fact that Terry has really brought something to the table beyond this contest. You could tell that all the other riders are feeding off the energy, and that's what's building here in our amphitheater. Ryan, you and I had an opportunity to be down on course a few moments ago, and you could feel the love and the excitement from our crowd out here.
So as we think we are just going to mid the halfway point here, we're going to give a little break for the Flatland riders. That's what they usually do, is take, I believe, a 10-minute break for warm-up as we get down mid-pack, so that the riders still have the muscles warmed up. It's basically like a training exercise, so that we keep them up to par and in proper competition format. Let's take a look at the remaining schedule out here for FISE Edmonton. As we're going to be rolling into tomorrow, day number 3, BMX Freestyle Flatland is starting at 2:20. Going to be rolling in 3:50 to the UCI BMX Freestyle Park men's final, and then finishing off last at 6:10 with the mountain bike slopestyle pro finals. We'll be right back with you guys here at the Flatland semifinals, FISE Edmonton.
There is a gritty, hard-working, side street persona to FC Edmonton that is the backstory of every coach and player connected to the club. The rise to this level, in this sport, in this country, takes guts, pain, and sacrifice. It takes a level of dedication that few understand.
Nothing can stop me, I'm all the way up. Call me top shotter, yeah, I keep a few chains. Champion sound, yeah, I got a few rings, and I'm all the way up. And you can stay up.
This season, we pay tribute to the great pioneers who helped build and grow the game. We are all FC Edmonton. We ignite the passion. We are all soccer. Together, we've always gone
All the way up. All the way up. I'm all the way up. I'm all the way up. Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up.
Thanks, Dale, for joining us. How you doing,
It's an
man?
honor being here. The energy is building, and the excitement's here for the first stop of the FISE World Series. Represents the premier action sports event, not only for the top-level riding, but for the top-level fans. You can look out at the thousands that come out to support all of our athletes and also to get in on the action. This is what I'm talking about for all of our BMX fans around the world. This is where BMX is celebrated.
Oh yeah, it's the most insane feeling ever. I can't believe it, FISE. You blow my mind again. 20 years, I wish I was here for every 20 years.
And Twister working
He's going to be looking for that top spot. Wow.
Backside 3, frontside 540.
That size at an action sports event, at any single sporting event apart from the mainstream I do not think so. Welcome back, everybody. If you're just tuning in, I am Ryan Meyer, joined by Daryl Now out here, who is always hosting the BMX, but as well our on-site, one of our long-hosting announcers, Lionel Cardoso, in the house with us as the guest commentator out here. We had just done the 10-minute break, and we were going for the second half of the BMX Flatland Pro semi-final riders. It's going to be Benjamin Hudson, Raphael Chiquet, Alexander Jumelon, Moses Zazaski, Jean-William Prevost, and Matthias Dandois. But as well, we had one missed rider, Jake Leva, in the Heat 1. He actually was not aware of the time change, so us being such good lads out here, we're going to try and fit him in a slot. He might come to the end of the bunch after Matthias Dandois, but maybe as soon as he comes into the pack, he's able to ride. So yeah, right now Jake is to be determined when his position is going to take place. As soon as he gets his butt down the course, we'll get stuff started. But right now, we have Benjamin Hudson on course with a new set of cornrows. And speaking about unique riding style, he is one of the riders in Flatland who's kind of created his own style with the grabbing of the seat. His seat is so low, he actually grabs the rear wheel, if I am correct on that.
Exactly. This is one of the most exciting rider at the moment. It's just one of the new upcomer. You know, it's got so much style and really a different take on Flatland. That's really interesting to see where it's going to take it. But for now, it's really good, you know, to watch. And yeah, I just can't wait to see how it's going to move on to the future, because he's already got some big moves.
Well, now you say that he's got his own take on Flatland. Is that because he maybe grew up on the other styles of riders out there and kind of brought in his own direction? Or is that him just going kind of creative in his own way? You know, is he influenced by the other riders that were just a generation before him, or is he just kind of cut from a whole new cloth?
I think, you know, riders, like some riders like Matthias made it a lot more visual, you know. That's what has been making Flatland so exciting in the recent years, is that everything's got a lot more visual, a bit less technical. It's still hard, like really hard tricks and everything, but those guys, they make it look good, you know. That's the difference.
So, and what you're saying by looking good and visual is things like that where the balance point and the leg is back, and almost trying to get that silhouette I was talking about and finding that style point.
Exactly.
Whereas maybe as opposed to where a rider, let's say 10 years ago or 15 years ago, it'd be about scuffing, you'd be on the front wheel, your body would be tight, you'd be in a closed position. But right now it's taking that motion and almost elongating yourself to really let your presence be known out there.
Exactly. What's new now compared to 10 years ago is flow, you know. That's everything flows into together. It looks really natural. They're not trying to force tricks, you know, force one trick into another. They're just trying to make it flow like liquid, you know. It's like all smooth, just like Benjamin does. Everything looks so natural and so clean, you know. But
so
yeah,
ultimately what you're saying, it's not one trick into another, it's about the whole entire start to end. What we're seeing here, just fluid, and he's making that motion on the front wheel by finding that pump spot where he's able to get the speed building.
Exactly. He's never losing momentum, always using a way or another to get, you know, his momentum going, and also that's a way to move into another trick, pulling it so clean, and that's what we want to see. That's what the judges are appreciating right there, is having the hard tricks, the flow, the style. That's just perfect right now for him. Definitely a rider to watch out for in the future.
You know what I really truly wonder? How do you guys keep from getting dizzy?
It's just getting used to it, you know. It's you know, if you were putting someone in that spot at this moment, anyone would get dizzy for sure. But when you've been running for 10 years and doing these tricks over and over again, like 6 hours a day, then you just get used to that. You know, it's yeah, just a matter of getting used to it, I guess. Oh yeah, going for a little decade.
Pedal to pedal right there, no brakes on the bike. So we've had the evolution of BMX as well, right? As far as flatland goes, we're seeing, you talked a little bit about the bike setups, but it almost looks like every rider we've seen has not had brakes on his bike, including Benjamin right here. As we watch him on that balance point, there are no brakes. And a rider, sometimes we used to utilize brake to find a balance point or adjust, but now it's all about the body weight that moves back and forth, and you're on a rolling tire, so it really increases. And you see right there, wrapping around that head tube, just stomping the pedals so smooth and clean.
Yeah, just as I was saying previously, you know, it's all a matter of flow, and having a brake is a different way of riding. It kind of breaks that flow, you know. That's the thing. And talking about flow, this is a master of one right there. This French guy is, you know, so much flow, so much style, you know. It's he's gonna be running mostly on the back wheel compared to Benjamin earlier, who was running on the front wheel. So he's a
specialist. Some of these riders are specialists.
At some point, they're gonna get into a certain style of riding, but that moves, you know, like Alex Dumoulin every other year is gonna have a totally different riding, just because that's the way he is. He's learning new tricks, and that's he puts.
So it's almost so advanced where the riding's at, you have to almost specialize on one thing for the moment to really you see a lot of focus. Wow, look at Raphael Chiquette right there. Really, like you said, on that back wheel focus. Now, Ryan, we saw in our Budapest stop, Raphael won a lot of fans, not only with this riding, but I remember afterwards, he was getting a dance party going out there. He was definitely one of the lone dancers on the turn the riding course into a dance party.
Oh yeah, you know, that's one party animal.
That's one thing that I think the Flatlanders are incredibly good at. They're very good at practicing demos, doing a lot of public interaction, and that's something that really shows when they have contests, because they have great audience interaction.
Oh, definitely, and that's you know, that's what I was talking about earlier. It's that experience, you know, that gives them much more ease, and that's also easier for them to focus because they're used to big crowds, and then they don't get annoyed, you know, with the noise or with the loud music.
So that's almost what you're saying. If a rider's a little more of a veteran and has experience doing shows, maybe not contests or contests, riding in front of crowds, you almost could see them light up in front of a crowd, as opposed to maybe somebody who doesn't have as much experience out here, like a Peter Olsen, where maybe they'd almost shy away from being in the limelight because they spend countless hours maybe riding by themselves in a parking lot or a certain space that is by themselves, very isolated. Exactly, so you almost see the two personality types come out. But what we're seeing right now with Raphael that I'm really digging, when he's doing the back wheel rotations, he's really laying the bike over extremely far. Brian, you see the way he's able to just push the peg out and extend the bike so sideways, and the fact that that surface you talked about has a little bit of a slick to it, he's not fazed by it and just getting that nice picture-perfect trophy.
Oh yeah, and that's what actually makes it spin. You know, the closest your bike goes towards the flatland, that makes you spin faster, and that's how he controls his speed and how he controls his tricks. You know, you can actually totally tell in that position. As soon as he flats out the bike, he spins a little bit faster, and that's how he's going to control his speed, and also he's going to keep that momentum going. And so far, Raphael is having an awesome run, just flawless, pulling trick after trick is just incredible. I'm sure, you know, if the other guy mess up,
what? Look
at that. This is original move.
So he just got in a position where, correct me if I'm wrong, but he used his leg to hook around the handlebars and took his hands off?
Exactly. That's how.
So let's take a look. Watch. He winds up hooking his leg around that handlebar and utilizes that for his balance point, but while keeping the spin that you said and trying to keep that rotation.
It's a combination of that position, having that leg holding the bar, but it's also the bike spinning on itself, you know. As I said, was having it closer to the ground, then that makes it spin, and he still has that grip, you know, holding onto his leg right there. just an incredible run though out of Raphael. Is just awesome to see. Having a good day.
This is where you can really see that amazing handwork as he switches from handlebar to front peg to handlebar, and he really is just perfecting that back wheel rotation.
Yeah, we also want to take a moment and give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Worm, out here. They actually specialize in slow motion as far as your own content, any content that's out here at the Feast World Series. Super simple. You can take your smartphone, you go to the App Store, type in the word Worm, download it, and it's so interactive and very cool. And you can check out all of our riders' content in slow-mo, also upload your own. But right now we got our next competitor who's taken the course, no stranger at all to the Feast World Series, because if I'm not mistaken, he's been at every single one of them. So that means at the first Feast, Lionel, you were battling out Alex Jumelin.
Oh yeah, but you know, it's such a friends that it's never a battle. Most of these guys, they have a contest, but they're just friends, just having a blast, and the only contest they have is, against themselves, trying to push it to the best of the level.
Well, so now Jumelin just turned 40 years old this year. That's a pretty big milestone in life, and he's so focused on riding. We talked about somebody being athletic, being in the game. He's actually a spin instructor, and he trains people as well. Look at that, wrapping around the head tube on the front wheel.
Oh yeah.
There's a quick scuff.
What's so crazy about Alex is that he's never been so good, For the longest time, he was always in the top 10, at all contests. And right now, he's never taken it that far. Like, he's constantly
so you're saying
finishing.
He's progressing as his career goes on. Most riders at 40 would maybe be retired, but you're saying he's like a fine wine. He's actually better than ever.
He's French.
He's French.
As you said, he's never got so good like as getting his tricks together, and he's one of the very few riders that's consistently put his riding into perspective and try to push it in a different direction altogether.
Now, why do you think that is, right? Of all the riders in the world, what do you think that gives Alex Jumelin so fired up? You rode with him at the first Feast 20 years ago.
Yeah, the thing is, he's never stopped progressing and learning new tricks. And as I said, each and every year, he puts it back, to a fresh slate and says, all right, I'm going to take my riding into a different direction, while some other riders might just, be, taking it easy on their laurels and, using what they already know. Alex always tries to push it further, and that pays now, The judges
you can see that balance point right here. Oh, Decade going from top tube to pedals and a bar spin.
Oh yeah, having a good day.
Well, the other thing to note too, I think Jumelin also is inspired by other riders, because he did take Matthias Dandois under his wing.
Totally.
About a decade ago, maybe even a little longer now, and he was a mentor to the younger rider, and now they're competing together, and you can see them pushing themselves. As much as you talk about there's a camaraderie, there's a friendship, but I think there's also a competitor brings out the best in you, right? And Matthias was dominating for all those years, and now we see Jumelin, the teacher, rising to the occasion, trying to outdo the pupil.
Oh yeah, totally. The Yoda is still in there, That's for sure. And what's crazy is he's been constantly pushing the younger riders. He just opened a flatland school in Montpellier in south of France, trying to, still transmit that passion to a younger generation. And he's been doing that for the longest time already, but now he's, making it legit with that flatland school.
Here we go. Final thoughts right now for Alex Jumelin.
Yeah, look at that face, so much focus all the time, he doesn't get fazed by anything.
That's time, but he's going to want to squelch something out here, just trying to squeak it in after the buzzer on the front wheel.
Oh, that's for the crowd, always going for the show, is one of the best ambassadors. We're talking about being an ambassador for Flatland. Has been such a good one for us for so many years.
Yeah, he's worked hand in hand with Feast to make sure Flatland is always represented. Look at this, the crowd showing the love here in Edmonton. The amphitheater getting totally lit up with love right there towards Alex Jumelin.
Look at that, he's hardly tired. You know?
Well, I guess if you teach, I had a chance to have breakfast with him this morning, and he was telling me that he teaches 6 to 7 spin classes a week. So if you're going to wind up doing that, you definitely got the stamina to go 3 minutes.
One of his signature moves right there, the backward boomerang with a foot on the stem was just incredible. One of the highlights of his run right there.
That fancy footwork.
Oh, yeah.
So we can see that we still have 3 riders yet to go. Our top 2 finishers from...
We're actually going to have 4 riders, I believe, but right now it's going to be Moto Suzuki. After Moto Suzuki, I do believe that we are going to be able to get Jake Leva in the mix there. So sorry to correct you there, that's not on our screen, but I believe
no,
I
that's
that
great.
I'm
excited to see Jake ride. Like we said, we normally see him in the park. Last year we had Joel Bondu, who actually rode, who's normally a traditional park rider. So please, correct me, throw more names in here. This is such a cool scene out here in Edmonton. The fact that Flatland is just represented in the best way possible, not only on an international level with our riders, but with their fans. And we're bringing in Moto Sasaki from Japan.
Oh, yeah. A bit of a long timer now. He's been around for a while. He's got also some signature moves like this one. Yeah, coming out this trick clean.
Do you have many Japanese riders in Flatland?
Oh, Flatland is one of the biggest thing in BMX in Japan. You know, that's actually the biggest thing in Japan as far as BMX goes. And they got like Flatland schools.
Wow. Foot was on the handlebars right there.
Yeah, was the other foot on the pedal as well. You know, just insane move right there. This is one of his most original trick.
So Matthias Dandois was telling me when he goes to Japan, the scene is so big over there. Almost every park in downtowns, in the cities, in the urban areas, you could see riders out there. Why do you think it's so big and popular in Japan as opposed to other parts of the world?
Yes, he has a lot to do.
Japanese culture is a difficult one.
Well, it has a lot to do with the essence of Flatland, where you need patience, you know, working hard onto something. Just like everything else in Japan, you like martial arts or culinary food, all that stuff requires like patience and precision, and that's what appeals to, you know, the Japanese audience, is that, you know, that's the way Flatland is. The skills it requires really appeals to them, because that's the way everything else in their culture is, you know.
So it's a perfect fit as far as and you also get that individuality and expressionism, right, where you could just paint with your bike out here. Yes. Look at that, the way he's dipping that bike down.
It's incredible. It has so much control.
This handlebar on that nose really spin. No other rider gets that handlebar just millimeters from scraping the ground like he does.
Oh, it's not millimeters. It's actually scraping the ground. Yeah. So much control, and as you can see right there is into that zone I was telling you about earlier, looking for that flow where everything flows into the other, you know, each trick flows into the other.
Where you're not even thinking about your movements. The crowd might as well not be there, but you're feeling the energy. Look at that, the foot on the handlebar, just trying to get really locked in right there. You could hear MC down there, Claude Hickman, who's getting the crowd hyped up as 22 seconds continue.
This is crazy.
Look
right
at
there.
The cross hand in the nose manual there.
Totally. That different foot, Ank 5 with a cross end. Just such a hard position to get in. And that's just his starting position. You know, the rest of the leg is just crazy right there. Coming out into a cross-footed shaker is just insane way to come out of the link. And he's had an incredible run right there. That's going to be a tough one for the judges. Wow.
All right, we have a crossover rider that's going to come to you.
Okay, so I do hear it from our on-site announcers there. I do believe that we have Jake Leva next up in the gate, but let's take a look at some replays from Moto Suzuki.
Look at that.
Whoa, so cool. Double foot plant on the tire right there. He did not step down on the stage, but there's that bar end. You could actually see it. Almost looked like it sparked a little bit on our slow-mo, right?
It could have.
Again, big shout out to our sponsor, Worm. You want to download the app, super simple, and you can upload all your own content or check out some of the slow-mos here taking place in our Flatland semifinal.
Oh, there we are, Jake Leva.
This is very interesting to me. I mean, coming from a guy who I only know freestyle personally how to do myself, and I think Flatland is such an amazing discipline. Since I've been hosting the FISE, since I've been coming out to the FISE, it's the only time that I've really been so interested in a sport like this and really wanting to do it. And it's very cool for me to see a freestyle rider cross over here and step into the Flatland territory.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of respects between the disciplines, you know, like everybody, you know, always come out and props like guys like Alex or Matthias. And it goes the same. Those guys you'll be able to see in the bleachers tomorrow for the finals. You know, they're going to be right there looking at their peers. You know, no matter what you do, you know, it's still BMX. It's still a big family, you know. And that's what is really amazing, having Jake Leva going in the flat. He's just having fun, you know. That's what matters, you know. And that's why all the, you know, you can tell the flying guys are so stoked having him, you know, running the contest. Is just awesome to see.
You can really see his park setup on the bike. Only left side has pegs. Complete different as well, but still trying to showcase his unique style and keep combinations going.
Oh yeah, and guys like Matthias made it possible for these guys to come out and not be shy and do those tricks, you know. That's what is amazing. It really is a call to all the riders to come and have fun no matter what you do.
So we are seeing some tricks that you would traditionally maybe see on street course or maybe even on some ramps right here. That's a 360 bar spin.
But imagine how hard that is doing this without any ramp. You know?
Big ups to Jake out here. Again, kind of giving his own spin, putting freestyle into Flatland.
You see a big smile. He's just having a really good time. Yeah.
He's having a blast right there. Look at that, saving it.
He didn't touch down. You got to give it to him. By any means necessary, I think that was the motto right there on that rollout. Oh!
Oh yeah, big whooper.
Making it look easy.
Shout out to Bill Nitschke for that one.
Yeah, Bill Nitschke still riding and pushing it.
Right.
Shout out to Bill Nitschke and his energy. He actually did a really cool decade video that he put out online. If you're on you're on Facebook, definitely look up Bill Nitschke. You can see some really cool inspiration for BMX. His energy is just electric, and he was the first rider to ever do the bunny hop tail whip, which is known as the Whopper, which you just called out.
Right.
I remember the first time seeing that in Eddie Roman's ride on the bunny hop tail whip, losing our minds.
Exactly.
So Jake trying to keep his mind in the game with 27 seconds to go.
He's just asking Alex what to do. That's the fun part. Like, what am I to do? He's just having a blast. That's awesome to see. Look at that. Alf nose wheelie, Alf Ank 5. So much control. I mean, just a matter of bike control. Look at this. Incredible Alf cap bar spin. Oh yeah. Whipping it down the stage, incredible.
Exit stage left right there. He's like, thank you. That's so cool. Again, that's that energy here. You can see he had the support from Alex Jumelin.
Oh yeah, look at that.
All the other riders, Moto Sasaki down there, Bo Wade giving a big hug. Psyched to see the crossover. Cheering him on, definitely gave him some pointers. I know it's not easy doing a discipline on the stage like that you do not normally ride. So you were seeing a lot of those ramp tricks traditionally being brought out there, but big ups to Jake for bringing it.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're now moving on to some big player.
See the crowd get excited for the Canadian boy, almost on home turf, but on home soil, that's for sure. Jean-William Prevost, our top man from the tour, out here in Edmonton, gonna get his 3 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, currently sitting in that top spot, getting a flawless victory so far in Montpellier, also in Budapest. And he is fresh off a Nora Cup, winning from Ride BMX Magazine. That is the #1 rider award voted by your peers. So if you're feeling a moment and there is a part in the rider's career, it is right now, as Jean-William Prevost drops in with 3 minutes on that clock.
I just find it so amazing how quick this man is able to spin around. He is just on a different level with that speed.
Right, is it possible to say that first combo was faster than anything we saw out in Budapest? Is that possible?
Yeah, it's it's amazing. You are correct with that. I mean, Montpellier, he astonished me with how quick he was able to do. But as well, like you noted very well in Budapest, how he is able to hold on with one hand to that handlebar and like that right there, spin the entire bike with wheel through his torso.
Yeah, he could just contort his body to get that clearance. It's a very hard positioning, and again, he has no brakes on the bike, so he's got to find that balance point as the bike is spinning.
Exactly, and don't forget, he's actually rolling, you know, he's actually spinning like around the bike while the whole thing is rolling. He's just has so much control. It's just insane what he's been doing so far. Like, all of these tricks are all of his originals, you know, no one is doing what he does. It's just so hard, and it's just a master of the game at the moment, and that's why he keeps getting those first spots, you know, at the contest. Is because for the longest time he had a hard time getting his shit together, and now everything is like a puzzle, you know, all of his parts. Look at this, so much speed, is incredible.
Yes, and that combo was over 30 seconds long.
Just incredible. The thing is, each and every trick in that combo was just insane, and that's what the judges are so amazed. Like, all the riders will tell you, this guy is at the top of the game right now.
So I got to ask you, as being a mid-school OG, right, or even bridging the gap between old school, mid-school, whatever you want to call it, you're definitely an OG, a pioneer. Did you ever think that Flatland, that these combos as far as motion, look at that, stepping around the bike, getting his feet on the pegs, that was insanity.
All right.
Did you ever think we'd be witnessing this going on? Look at the body positioning. Right, from back in the days of doing cherry pickers, right, and doing certain scuffing moves, and now we're seeing motion right here. This is poetry in motion. I don't care if it sounds cheesy because it looks so good.
Yeah, that's, you know, exactly what we said earlier, is that just that flaw, you know, everything is flawless, like going, you know, into each trick like so easily, yet each and every position he's doing right there is just incredible.
All right, let's see. He's got 20 seconds. Let's see if he can get back in that zone you were talking about. Back wheel boogie right there, foot on the peg, finding that balance point, just switching. And look at that, he's getting momentum as 10 seconds are on the clock. Bar spin, and he finds the balance point.
Look at that.
This
just
is insane.
That 1 foot on the peg, you know, nothing.
And he's utilizing his knee on the seat.
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Oh, bam. Having that touchdown at the end, but that was an enormous run from our current points leader, Jean-William Prévost.
He's bummed, but yeah, he's had an amazing run. So many hard tricks in these combos. You just wonder how he does it. It's just insane.
Okay,
you know.
Take a look at some of the Canadians' highlights from this run out here.
Yep.
Bike is completely upside down, so instead of having his handles on the handlebars, he's got them both on that front peg.
Switching from one foot to another without any contact, like still keeping that momentum, and that bike is rolling all the way. Look at that.
That was so cool. You saw him step through, almost like he's in a can-can, but the bike's upside down and finds the pedals. There is a look at our 3 judges. That is no easy task trying to figure out what we are looking at here.
Wouldn't want to be there, for
sure. Stressful, and we're coming down to the last rider out here for the semifinals.
Last year's champion.
The FISE Edmonton. This is none other than, like you said, last year's champion, defending out here, Matthias Dandois, the Paris crew of Flatland riders. Always a character out there for the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Like we've mentioned before, has a very interesting street style influence within his riding. He's riding a new Haro frame out there.
New old Haro, you know.
Yeah.
Throwing it back vintage. It's just insane seeing him on this bike, you know. Alex Judelin told us earlier that he had that bike in 1989 or something. It's just insane.
Yeah, Matthias, you see him hamming up to the crowd out there. Such a likable rider. And just such a likable person as well. If you ever get the opportunity when you're at a FISE World Series or any contest, go up to Matthias, shake his hand. He'll love to meet you. And look at that. There's that, getting that perfect pose right there. The wingspan is out. You mentioned Matthias was one of the riders who kind of stripped it down a little bit and said, let's make it look great out there.
Exactly. It's all about style and flow right there. Is, you know, look at this. One end is steamroller, just keeping it going and pulling it clean. That's what Matthias is so good at, is just getting this consistent run. Even though some of the tricks are a bit older now, you know, compared to, let's say, Jan William, who's all about progressive riding, is still amazing, you know.
So how important is that for the judges? If a rider comes out and does a run, maybe that they did at a contest of the years past, will they get judged against themselves even if they have a flawless run?
That's really what made the difference in Budapest, you know, the more original guys and that had like newer tricks definitely stepped it up compared to Matthias, who did a run that was already done like 2 or 3 years ago, you know.
Wow, so even if you are flawless, they want to see, so you're almost even riding against yourself. But right now, Matthias on the back wheel, look at his feet on the pedals. Look at this spin, Ryan.
This combination is nearly a minute long. Matthias Danois knows how to get a crowd wound up.
Oh yeah.
Going for the bar spins in some of the, that was some phenomenal riding from the Frenchman. 5-time world champion, defending FISE world champion.
And look at that war face we were, you know, talking about earlier, that flow zone, like that focus is maximum. Even though he made it look like he's having fun with the crowd and everything, as soon as he stepped on those pegs, he's just a different person. Look at that.
Yeah, you can see the transition in the personality, also the transitions between tricks. But Matthias right here, you talked about he was riding this Haro Master. He has his own signature bike on Haro, the Bastille. That's his own geometry that he likes, but he said, you know what, I'm digging this reissue Haro Master. I'm gonna put it together. It's not the geometry he's used to, but you can't even tell the way he's able to lay the bike over.
And
rotation.
Going into his signature with the no hands.
Oh yeah, this is Matthias all the way.
Let's see, can he keep the flow going? 23 seconds.
Oh my word.
These are moments that matter for Matthias as he's keeping that flow going. The crowd here in Edmonton just pumping up the Frenchman.
Look at this.
Boom.
So much fire in his eyes. Wow. The crowd is loving it.
The amphitheater is just getting lit up with appreciation. Yes.
Whoa, that's a new one I have not seen from Matthias.
Exactly. The thing is, he got so many more of those, you know, you can, if you watch his last video, he's got so many crazy tricks, but saving it for, you know, the rare occasions like this one, where he knows that he has to make a difference, you know, with the other riders.
So the time is done, but Matthias is just showing you his dominance, why he was the 2016 champion. Even though this is the semifinal, he is letting his presence be known. We are taking the top riders moving on to the final, and hopefully Matthias will be one of them.
Wow, phenomenal riding, and you can definitely be assured that we are going to be seeing Matthias in the finals out there tomorrow. But what a spectacle to see the last rider of the day, Matthias Danois, just doing justice to BMX Flatland out there.
Yeah, you can see our on-field MC, Claude Hickman, cheering him on. Again, there are 12 riders. We're only taking 6 to the finals. I think it is safe to say Matthias will definitely be in there. I don't like to make the calls because we are not the judges, but you definitely have all the other riders cheering on. You can see his mentor, Alex Jumelin, in the back, being very excited for his pupil out there.
Definitely. Big semifinals today. Like, everybody kind of had their stuff together. They're just awesome to see, like, all the big guys deliver the goods. And I wouldn't want to be the judges, that's for sure. That's a tough one, especially, you know, as we what we mentioned about difficulty and originality, that's what's going to make the difference in the results. And I'm eager to hear what the judges are going to come with. Hopefully, you know, it's all fair, but looking at their history and their legendary status, I'm sure it's only going to be all good.
Yeah, it's going to be in the hands of Alexis Desaulnay, Travis Collier, and Ryan Russell, who are our 3 judges. You can see them down there deliberating what scores are going to be in top and which one of the 6 riders are going to be moving on to our final.
We'll be back with the results after that. Stay with us.
Hello everyone, I'm Daryl now and I'm the place to be. That's right, Budapest, Hungary for the second stop of the FISE World Series. We have BMX Flat, BMX Park, Roller, and we also have a very refreshing new event, which is wake surfing. Over 24 hours of TV production, and you know what? It's all about the fans. Brian, we had over 1 million fans who came out to all of our stops last year. That's insane. 1 million people.
This is absolutely insane for any sports discipline.
Has made a big difference for me this year, and I totally appreciate it, and I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
Dan Dubois is on fire right now. Look
Check out Dan Dubois.
Front flip up on top. Boom.
360 triple bar spin.
The level of riding was so crazy throughout this entire series, but it did not slow down and did not do anything short of deliver one spectacular final. Oh, Bruce! 1 and done.
And welcome back, everybody, here to Edmonton, Canada. We've just finished off the semifinals for the BMX Flatland Pro men's competition. And you just saw that man right there, Matthias Danois, ride last and totally bump up that amphitheater. The audience has just been elated with the riding from the Flatland competitors. How have you guys felt at the event so far?
Just awesome, you know, just incredible riding. Once again, a lot of the guys could put it together, and that's never easy. Look at this awesome highlight of the contest.
Yeah, the energy was so high out there. The fact in Edmonton, Flatland last year was definitely one of the favorites. This year is keeping up with that same tradition. So psyched Terry Adams was in the house. I feel Terry's spirit definitely set the standard and set the stage, was we had our 12 semi-finalists out there. But we're taking a look right now at some highlights to see which one of the 6 are going to be rolling into our final, which will be taking place same place tomorrow.
Oh yeah, and that's gonna be crazy. Can't wait to be here again.
Love that body positioning right there. So cool, he could tweak and torque his way out of that. But here's a look at the Frenchman, Matthias Danois, just getting in perfect positioning and the energy, feeling the crowd out here. It's a perfect stage in our amphitheater for Flatland, and especially here, the Canadians just showing the love and the support to our two-wheeled riders on the flat ground, flat balance, and magicians of BMX.
Remember, you guys, I know this is not just a Canadian event. However, we're out here doing justice in Edmonton this weekend. But for all our audience worldwide, make sure you guys stay in touch with us on all our social media handles. You can check out us, obviously, on Facebook. Facebook is the FISE.official as well. Check us out, Twitter, Instagram, and all the handles. Let's take a look at the schedule for day number 3. That's going to be tomorrow when we get things going underway. Starting it off with the Flatland at 2:20, then moving into the UCI BMX Freestyle Park World Cup Finals for the men's at 3:50, rolling into the finals of the mountain bike slopestyle at 6 o'clock. So stay tuned. We have tons of action happening on day number 3 tomorrow for the FISE World Series in Edmonton, Canada. Results are going to be coming up shortly. We have the judges doing the paperwork down on course in the amphitheater, and we are going to be telling you exactly when things come rolling into our ears. And there we have it, results for the day. Matthias Danois on top with the 93.66, followed very closely, nipping at his heels, the Canadian rider Jean-William Prévost. That's going to be a tight battle rolling into the finals. And like you said, Alex Jumelin, 3rd place there, on top of his game, riding phenomenally with the 90.66. Moto Suzuki in 4th place there, respectively, with the 90. Raphael Chiquet rounding off the top 5.
Yes, indeed. And don't forget Benjamin Hudson also in the finals. That's going to be awesome to see tomorrow.
Unfortunately, though, Terry Adams is not going to make it in. I do want to give a special shout out to Terry Adams. He's a legend of the sport. So psyched to have him here in Edmonton, bringing his own riding and style.
So it's been an absolutely amazing turnout of events for the top 12 riders out here in the semifinals for the BMX Flatland. Want to give a huge shout out as well to those bottom 6 riders: Terry Adams, Tyler Gillard, Peter Olsen, Bo Wade, Jake Leva for the crossover, and Branton Darbrove. So thank you very much for everyone coming out and enjoying the Flatland. Make sure you tune in for day number 3. We will see you next time. Sorry, fucked that end off a bit, but